Welcome back to the Auction Brief, where I cut through the narratives and the noise to bring you the best auction draft insight and strategy in the business. I'm your host, Drew Davenport, and before we get started, I want to mention again that my 7-part Mastering the Auction Draft series is up right now on footballguys.com, and I dive into all these video concepts even more in depth in the article series. So if you're enjoying this, please go check that out. Today's episode is episode 8. Act loud, but be quiet. One of my favorite parts of auction drafting is that you get to dive into the basic human psychology of people's personalities and how those personalities affect the choices they make in the draft room. But today, we're not talking about other personalities, we're talking about our own. And that's because if I'm making you into the drafter that I think I'm making you into, when you go into a draft room, you're going to be deliberate and intentional with the spending of your money. That's the be quiet part. Over the first couple of hours of the draft, it's not as if you're not buying any players, but you won't be buying many players. And even the most novice of drafters will notice if you've been sitting there for 30 minutes crossing names off your list, and then you suddenly perk up and start bidding. You will get bid up that way, and that's not the way to handle your business. Instead, you need to project a bit of an image that maybe isn't necessarily true. And that means act loud while you're being quiet. How do you act loud? Bid, and bid again. You can do some other things like popping open a beer or making jokes in between nominations, but for the most part, you need to simply be bidding on every player. Yes, every player that comes up for nomination, you need to register several bids on that player. What that does is it makes a subconscious imprint in people's mind of their snapshot of the room, and when you start bidding on the players that you actually care about, your intentions will be disguised. It is one of the easiest things to do, but one of the most absolutely essential skills to have when you're in an auction draft room. Act loud and be quiet. Thanks for joining me for episode 8.